Oh man, are you guys having a good time? Learning about your business? Man, I launched my business, my Amway business in 2003 in June. Came to my first conference a couple weeks later. It's probably almost exactly 22 years within a week or two. To think about the journey at 21 years old, I think because I was not a front row seater. So I appreciate all you guys. I can actually see your face. This is good. All right, it's happening. Good to see you. I would not sit in the front row because when you've been raised and trained yourself as a self-trained ninja, right? You always want to know where the exit is. So I think I sat probably somewhere really close to the back here. I probably sat somewhere next to my man, Mr. Stevens right here. Look at that. All right. I hope you were taking some notes. Let's look at that. It says Dennis, and then it's just blank. No notes. Nothing important was said yet, but it's okay. We're here. Now those are some specs right there.
Yeah.
I'll take those for free.
You can have them.
All right. Those are not. I don't want. So I think I sat here at my first function 22 years ago. And see, our talk is, it's not always a home run. We all start somewhere. I had a lot of fears. I was afraid at my first meeting I ever went to, there was only about 25 to 30 people in a room. And Vinny said, hey, if you're here for a first time, stand up. And I was so afraid to be in front of people in that kind of way. I hit my friend, Andre, and said, you stand up and introduce us. And I brought him to the meeting. And that's where I started. I wouldn't even stand up to introduce myself. That's how afraid. So, sometimes you just hit a base hit. My first base hit was just coming to a conference like this for the first time. Where's the first timers? Stand up real quick if it's your first time conference. Stand up, give them a hand. What's up? Good to see you guys. You just hit your first base hit. You made the first good decision to take the next step forward in your business, to know what it's like to be at a conference. The next best decision I made, which unfortunately, these results may vary for many of you, and it also depends on where you're sitting and who you're sitting next to. But I happened to position myself next to a beautiful woman. And I went to the hotel clerk and I said, man, can you turn up the AC in that room? It's a little hot. Can you turn up the AC? I made sure that room was frigid. Right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And I sat next to Danielle and I saw she was getting a little cold. And I lent her my jacket. I couldn't stand up and introduce myself, but I had enough swag to get my jacket, And I put as much money as I had in the coat pocket, try and make it look like I was successful. I think there was about $14 and a whole lot of change. We used to have coins back then. I don't think you guys have coins today. Do they still make coins? And we just took those steps forward. We started dating August 15th, 22 years ago. We then got married 2 years after that in August 20th. So we'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary, August 20th. At 21 and 18, we started our journey in business together with very humble beginnings. I was working at a lumber section of a hardware store. Danielle was waitressing at a restaurant. And we were just so jacked up about having the opportunity to build an Amway business on the side. And we just took a couple base hits. We weren't worried about hitting home runs. We all want the home runs right away. But I don't know if you guys can pull up a picture real quick of Vinny's team at our second conference, September 2003. But this was Outside of maybe 5 or 6 people that are not in that picture, that was Vinny and Dana's entire team in 2003. A couple base hits. Obviously, you see Tony there, that was a bunt. That was a big bunt that led to a lot of runs. But it's interesting to look at that picture. As you can see, me on the left over there. Danielle's over there on the right. You see Danielle over there? Now that guy that I have my arm around on the right, I don't know exactly, he was in before I got in, so I don't know exactly. Vinny would have the story. But downline from him, about a year later, popped up a guy, Mike Monaco. And it was just a regular single hit. Someone met his brother at a college and made a connection. And get this, on the way out, Mike's brother threw the business card away, had no intention of even meeting with the person. But they had gotten his number, and they called him, and because he had some level of integrity and booked a meeting, he showed up. Now get this. The guy started to do a meet and greet and goes, man, I don't really know what I'm doing. You got to come meet Vinny. And we used to do a GE back then. Vinny would open his home. And he said, can I bring my brother? And the guy said, no, you can't bring your brother. So he was talking to Vinny and he told him that. And Vinny said, call him back and tell him he could bring his brother. Because at that time, you're just trying to hit any hits you could hit to get on base, right? How many of you feel like you just want to get some hits? You want to get on base, right? You want to get on base. So Vinny said, yeah, tell him to come. Mike shows up with his brother to the meeting. He was so jacked up, I remember the meeting he was at. Mike gets in business. He tells his brother, you need to get in so you could sponsor me. I'm going to build this thing. His brother still didn't get in. Sometimes logic has nothing to do with it. We all think everything needs to be perfect. It wasn't the perfect meeting, but he hit the base. He got on base. And over time, you know what the Monaco organization is today. There's a couple in that picture, which you'll hear from this weekend, Warren and Vanessa Fry. That was another base hit. Look at Warren and Vanessa over there. They were like heroes to us. We looked up to them so much. We still do. They were older than us, and Warren, was successful in his transmission shop, and Vanessa was like an older sister to Danielle, and it was incredible to see. And I remember thinking, man, Warren makes so much more money than me in his regular job. If he's doing this, I got to do this, right? Like he made probably 5 times what I made at my job, just in his job, and he was still building a business on the side. I said, man, I need to do this too. And I just remember how smart he was, the business mind that he had. And we saw that and we wanted to commit to that. Now, what's funny is that guy with my arm on the right ended up quitting. But not only did it lead to the Monaco organization, but it also led to the Sim organization. So there are 2 different legs that came out of what at that time might have only looked like a base hit. And see, sometimes things, you don't realize what they're going to look like down the road when you continue to just hit base hit after base hit. Now, it's easy to tell that story now with you knowing what the ending looks like, but there were years of work and effort and time and growth and struggle before you ever saw the real reward from the time that was actually a hit. One of my favorites is a guy over there. I used to call him Earthworm Jim. I don't know if you remember that cartoon. You got to be old to remember Earthworm Jim. I had My first guy over there in the back that said he was going to do this thing. And on the way home, he called his first person and they told him Amway wouldn't work and I never saw him again. All my dreams crushed. But that didn't bother me. I had the team, I had the backing. Vinny and Dana's sponsors, Charlie and Ann are in there. And I heard this recently that Rick Warren talks about 6 levels to a dream. And see, Vinny always talked about the vision of where the team would be one day, because from that picture, there's this room now. And there was a room just like it down in Dominican Republic last week. Vinny used to talk about impacting people, talked about excellence, talked about the vision. He talked about the dream of having an incredible team of people with a common vision, with a common goal that want to win at the highest levels in life, not just in business, but in their life, in becoming the best version of themselves, growing themselves. But in that 6 levels of a dream, you have your dream. The second is you have to make a decision. After you make that decision, typically there's a delay. There's a waiting time. The 4th level is the difficulty and the challenges that come. The 5th level is the tough one. The dead end, when it feels impossible and your dream looks dead. Everything you had been working for, it seems like it's not gonna happen. And if you stay steady, he says, then there's a deliverance and the dream is fulfilled. A lot of you, if you feel like you're at that dead end, what the cool part is, you might be right around the corner from the 6th level when you're right at the 5th level. You might be exactly where you need to be to get where you want to go. It's pretty interesting because he's not even talking about business. He's not a business writer. He's just talking in general. And I found it fascinating when I heard it. And I was so lucky enough to get a base hit with my coat. To later feel like it was a dead end and see her go out on dates. There was one time I was at Vinny and Dana's house for a meeting, and she was getting all dressed up and she was leaving on a date. And Vinny said, "Hey." I went, "What?" You know, one of those, what? You know, when he said, "Pick up your mouth. That's my daughter." But the first time I ever saw her, I told my best friend I was gonna marry her. So even though it seemed like a dead end, that dream came true. And I got an incredible wife by my side, and I'm so proud of you. It's been awesome to be running 22 years together. I love you.
I love you.
You got anything to say?
Yeah, I do. I didn't know if it was my turn. Is it tag on it? Okay. So, thank you, babe.
Usually you don't wait. You just take over.
I read and I listen, and I'm changing every day. So.
Hold on. We do have some favorite products, though. Really quick. How many people love the Amway plant protein? It's got some incredible ratings out in the marketplace. You got that picture of that plant protein? Do we have that picture, man? Organic. It's got all kinds of nutrients. They don't have the picture.
The picture of the
Hopefully you guys know what it looks like and you've ordered it before.
Well, that
is not the plant protein.
That is not.
But how many people are jacked up about this grass-fed whey?
So I have been a plant-based girl.
Bring back up the whey, man. We want the whey.
I've been a plant-based girl ever since it came out, but I have to say, if you're a Mandalorian fan, this is the way. So anyway, but It's been a wonderful journey being having a running mate, a partner for 22 years, and we are very blessed to be back to back in everything we do. And we truly believe that as we build our business, not everything is a home run. And I thought of, when I was thinking of our talk, I thought of a story that really just warmed my heart. One time, my father-in-law, Dennis's dad, before he passed away, was sitting at dinner. It was my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, Mackenzie, and I. And Mackenzie asked her grandparents to tell stories about her daddy. And of course, being a little kid, she wanted to hear stories of greatness. My mother-in-law didn't understand the assignment, and she started spewing out like silly stories. And my father-in-law, who is not the most talkative man, interrupted my wife and began to tell a story about Dennis. And Dennis doesn't like when I talk about him, but it's too bad. I have the mic right now. So he began by saying to Mackenzie, "You know, Mackenzie, your daddy wasn't always the best athlete. He wasn't always the biggest guy. But he always demonstrated resiliency." He said, "I remember when he was a little boy, he was on the soccer field playing a game, and he was the smallest kid on the field. And he would chase the ball and always run into the huddle for some action. He said he came out bloody, and his shins were completely swollen and red. And when he got home, he kicked the ball against the house to practice and practice and practice. And every time he'd go to practice, he'd come home and practice some more and practice some more. And he worked on his form, and he worked on his shots over and over and over again. He did whatever it took to get better. And while your daddy had an older brother who was naturally gifted at sports, and he was naturally better at sports, he didn't have the passion that your dad had. And sure enough, your dad went out and became the best player on that team. And he continued to put that effort and that resiliency into every sport he played: hockey, volleyball, lacrosse, and everything he decided to play. So much so that he became All-American in lacrosse, and he became number one in the country for several years in his division. He had a full scholarship to a Division I school for it, and he really just demonstrated excellence. While some, including your uncle, your dad's brother, just had fun and didn't work hard. And therefore, they didn't receive that reward. And my father-in-law continued to say, your dad developed resiliency on those soccer fields and by kicking that ball against the house. And he took that same resiliency and carried it into every endeavor he was passionate about. And you see, Mackenzie, that's why your daddy always comes out on top, because he always works the hardest and is willing to do whatever it takes. So this is truly one of my favorite memories of my father-in-law, because he wasn't a man who praised Dennis, and he wasn't a man who spoke a lot. And he didn't really show love a lot. But in that small moment, I saw the respect and love that he had for his son, my husband, because he knew he had some part in helping to raise a great man who was willing to always do whatever it took to complete the mission. So it seems that we all, at some time or another, want to win that big championship. We want something huge. We want the big show of it all. We want the crowd to scream for us. We want that grand slam, that home run at the bottom of the ninth, when the bases are loaded, and we want to be that player that hits it. But I want to ask you this, and I want you to really think about it. Were we willing to go out and take all the base hits before we got to that home run or that grand slam? Did we take those small steps forward again and again and again? Because that's what's going to add up to the bigger wins. Did we go out every day and have a conversation? Did we use all of our amazing Amway products? Did we read to better ourselves and listen to audios? Were we hungry for the education? Did we take those base hits every day? Did we put the reps in? I know for us, that's what we based it on. We couldn't look at, did we win the championship? We had to just take one day at a time, rep after rep after rep, and say we were going to do whatever we had to do to put in the work and put in the effort. We see it in our own children as they work to improve in life, realizing that time after time, it all adds up to make a difference if they just put the reps in. But if we're always expecting the home run without going through the day-to-day plays, then we'll never reach that big destination that we see in our life. We see it within our team when people give a short spurt of energy and they expect to hit their goal, which is an unrealistic expectation. We have to sometimes ask, why didn't it happen? I tried. But we have to realize that 1 week or 1 month or 1 year of effort, it isn't going to be enough to get the most of your goals. The most important thing, in my opinion, in our opinion, is to learn and to realize that we must be willing to go out and get the reps every day, the repetition, even when it feels boring, even when we might feel like we're not getting what we wanted or that we might get rejected. When we got started, Dennis and I were committed to doing whatever it took to build our business, to get to the levels we wanted to get to and beyond. And that meant that we'd practice every single day. Yeah, in sports, that might be throwing a ball against a net, but here it's putting those reps in. We infused it in our family, in our jobs, and in everything we did. And we know that each day looks different, and there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be things and obstacles that stand in your way. But do you have the stamina that no matter what, you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to put more effort in tomorrow? In my opinion, we've been gifted with access to this room, to this Amway opportunity, to this community, to these people that you are getting to be around and getting to work with. And it is a wonderful team of people to work with, in my opinion. So it's your choice to decide, what are you going to do with it? We knew for us that we were going to set ourselves up to always swing. And while some swings would amount to nothing, we realized if we never tried, it would be impossible to ever get the home run. So tonight, I hope the picture is clear in your mind that you need to get some reps in if you want to see results. If you're not looking for results, then the reps are not important to you, and that's okay. But realize that if you have big goals, then there is work that will have to go in. It's never going to be easy to be successful in things. Like my father-in-law so eloquently said that night, choose to work the hardest and do whatever it takes. If you never take a step in the right direction, you'll stay where you are. So I don't know about you, but I wanted to go to bigger and better places. And that meant we had to get the reps in.
Woo, man. I don't know where she comes up with this stuff. I guess they didn't tell the story of when I took the car when I wasn't old enough.
That was the story your mom started to tell to my 5-year-old.
Man, if they had the tail light fixed, I wouldn't have gotten pulled over. It's all my parents' fault. I saw this saying the other day, the only man who never makes a mistake is the one who never does anything. I saw this and it hit hard. I was thinking of that as she was talking, and she talked about some people having a lot more talent but not working hard. I saw this quote that said, "Talent is a wonderful thing, but it won't carry a quitter." Danielle said it in some other words, but you'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret to your success is found in your daily routine. Some of those daily routines are just, like she said, sometimes I just needed to listen to an audio. I needed to have that environment. I needed to call Vinny just to have someone believe in me and tell me, hey, it's all right. It's no big deal. Get back on the field. If there's another play, just like when you made a bad play, when I made a bad play and I missed the face-off, I come off, people didn't go, oh man, you're never gonna win a face-off again. They're like, don't worry about it, man. Forget about it. You got the next one, right? Have any of you ever played any kind of game, board games, anything, pickleball, whatever game it is, right, that you could play, and you were really close to winning, but you lost? Do you just hang it up, or are you like, yo, double or nothing? Double or nothing, man. How many of you have doubled or nothing 10 times before, and you might have had some money on that, you're like double or nothing, you were in the hole. And you go till you win. I was thinking about it the other day, and because someone asked me, like, what kept you going? And I said, I had that same feeling towards building my Amway business every time I had a conversation that didn't necessarily go the way I wanted, and maybe I struck out. I went, I can't wait to get up to bat again. I took something away and I learned something. Every meet and greet that didn't go the way I wanted, and someone might have said something that might have seemed insulting, right? Like, I said, I can't wait to get back in, right? Has anybody ever heard someone say, oh man, that's not legitimate, right? Oh, Amway's not legitimate. Man, I recommend, and I always tell anybody I sit with to go check out, I don't know, you call it Twitter or X, I don't know what you call it now, but follow Amway's feed on there. They put out some of the most amazing content I've ever seen about stuff that the company does. I mean, they've put stuff out where you can live stream into their farms. I mean, I've never heard of a company doing that unless I just haven't seen it. Maybe companies do it, I don't know. But I mean, that's pretty wild for them to be as transparent to say you can stream into our farms. They got some kind of a fish approval. I don't know the exact certification. I apologize. You can look it up. But for their omegas, they just put that out on their social media. I probably could look up the picture. I definitely screenshotted it. Tell you what the exact thing is, right? The right scientific verbiage. But they do things at the highest quality, right? So when someone says something like that, I had so much deep rootedness in the information and knowing the products and the company that was backing us and the mentorship team that was backing us, the time that they had invested into my life, right? You know what was illegitimate, man? You got that picture of that cup? I saw this cup. Anybody seen this cup before? Wait for this. Anybody seen that before? Right? I thought, man, I'm gonna order this. My kids are gonna go nuts. They're gonna think I'm like king, like this is gonna be I'm gonna drink tea out of this thing. And I'm just gonna sit at the kitchen table like the man. Then the package came. You got that next picture? This is what I got. What are you laughing at, Matt? That's not funny. I couldn't drink out of that thing. Man, I'll tell you what, man, when my Ditto comes in, the products I order come in, and if anything's ever wrong and you call Amway customer service, they are amazing. Anybody have that kind of experience before, how amazing they are? Something comes in, not right? Man, I couldn't believe my package that I just opened up for my Ditto this month. The way they pack excess now, you could barely even get it out of there. That thing is in there so tight, it's like nothing's getting to that thing. Have you tried getting that out of there? But I'll tell you what, man, some good stuff. So I'm just passionate. So you hit some base hits along as you go. But see, a lot of people let the misses affect them. It's something I like to call one of the things that robs so many people of success: not enough likes. We live in a world of not enough likes. You see it all the time where the stories of people who post stuff on social media and they'll delete it because they don't get enough likes. There's all kinds of articles on people who have anxiety and depression because they didn't get enough likes. And I can tell you what, when I started my Amway business, I didn't get all the likes I thought I was going to get. And most of the people that we have on our team don't usually get all the likes they're expecting to get right away out of the gates. Why that is, I don't know. But it's part of human nature. There's some people that just love what you're doing. There's some people that just not going to like what you're doing. And there's some people that just don't care enough. They're just neutral. I've just found that to be, no matter what topic you talk about, you can find people in all three categories. But don't let that affect your identity. Too many people tie their identity to the likes. You know who needs to like what you're doing? You. Do you believe in what you're doing, and does it align with your values, your mission, your passion, and your dreams? If it does, who cares about the likes that other people have? You'll find the people that like what you like. Many social media people that are very successful say, don't post to get likes, post the content you love, and over time you'll find the people that also love that content, and you'll get the right likes, not the fake likes. We don't want the fake likes. That's what Matt and Vanessa were talking about, was not chasing people, not finding people that want to do what you're doing. Look at this room. Give yourselves a hand, because you all wanted to be here and you're jacked up about being here and being able to go out and help more people do this. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world to be able to build a business and help the people that wanted to come along and help my friends make money too. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So don't tie your identity to it. I was reading a book about the Holocaust. And one of the things one of the people had said in there is, they said one of the reasons they gave everybody a number was because they wanted to rob them of their identity. Because that's how powerful your identity is. Do you know who you are and what you stand for? What do you stand for? Because all I know is Vinny had always talked about, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We love you guys. God bless.
For the calendar year 2024, the average income from Amway for all U.S. registered IBOs at the